Hi everyone, it's Jennifer Porco, and today I'm joined by Martin Sierocinski from 101 Mobility of Knoxville. They are the folks who help people stay independent at home with things like stair lifts, ramps, and other accessibility solutions. So we're going to chat about what to look for when you're moving into a smaller home, how to plan ahead for future mobility needs, and some simple ways to make your current home safer and more comfortable without sacrificing style or space. So Martin, for people who are downsizing or they're planning to age in place, what are some of the most common mobility or accessibility challenges that you see?
Probably, just being able to get in and out of the home without using steps is one thing that we see is a major challenge. And depending on when the home was built, sometimes we have sunken floors and things that make it really inconvenient and a hazard as you age. And even, one step can become a trip risk. I would also say accessibility in the bathrooms. So narrow bathrooms, challenges with getting in and out, especially if someone needs some support with that. So, yeah.
I know when my grandmother was disabled, my mom had to take the door off of the hinges just because even that little 2 inches was too much to fit her walker through.
Yeah, and here in Tennessee, I think we've always been kind of lax on codes. So you'll find some bathrooms are 25 inches, some are, it's wild how narrow they can get. And so,
That's funny because our house, the downstairs bathroom, it's a tiny door. And I know that.
Yeah, it doesn't work. And really, one of the biggest things you can do to support yourself with that is aligning the shower, the toilet, and the sink all on the same wall if possible.
Okay.
Because we have systems that you can slide from one thing to the other. It really takes a lot of pressure off of the caregiver. Yeah.
That's pretty cool. So when you visit a home, what do you look for first to decide what kind of mobility situation would fit them best?
So we are like a solutions-based company. So I really like to speak with the homeowner and talk about their limitations and get some input from them so that I can start to think, through their lens, but always access in and out, how many steps, where's the biggest risk, and then handrails, like simple things that could potentially make it safer for them.
Those handrails come in handy, even if you're not elderly.
Oh yeah.
On leg day at the gym.
Yeah, so when we do stair lifts, they're always like, hey, can we keep those? And we ask them, like, how often do you use your handrail? Well, it's every time.
Yeah.
It's something you do subconsciously. You don't even think about it.
Yeah. I agree with that for sure. So what types of products or modifications tend to make the biggest difference in comfort and independence for people moving into smaller homes?
Yeah, so for a smaller home, depending on what your steps are, if you have to have them to access the home, a lot of lots are not level here, so that can vary. And I would say for a small home, maybe a ramp, because you usually don't need a whole lot and there's not a whole lot of space to put things.
Right.
And so that's one thing. If it's stairs, we could potentially put a stair lift in. They're very minimal, and the amount of space they take up on your stairs, only about 13 inches when they're folded up. But we have some things like elevators and platform lifts that require a little more space. So we're always looking for the maximum impact for, taking up the least amount of space.
Right. Can you walk us through how that process works? Somebody calls you and has you come out and...
Yeah, so typically people reach out to us, and I always tell people, reach out before you're in a crisis, even though we are equipped to handle short-term, quick needs and more long-term solutions. Typically people reach out to us, they want to know pricing and get information, and that really requires a home consultation. So, every situation is different, every home is different. So we like to come out, we like to measure, speak with the customer, like I mentioned, and kind of get to know them and try to, come up with a solution that they feel really good and comfortable about, that, depending on the situation, whether they're a caregiver now and they weren't expecting it, or if they're just preparing, we like to connect and make that relationship. And then After we do that, we usually quote them. We try to quote people in the home so they have the pricing, because that's what they're really calling for.
Sure.
And then we're not aggressive. We follow up. Sometimes we have to coordinate with contractors. That's typically done after the initial home consultation. And I typically, if contractors are involved, coordinate all that and do that for the customer, so they just have a nice, smooth, easy process and don't have to worry about all that, and take away some of the stress of the whole thing. Because a lot of times I see this, people are it's a lot to process, which is why I try to tell people to do it ahead of time, so that you're not in a crisis, because then it's really hard to just digest it all. It can be a lot. So then we come out and we schedule and coordinate with the customer. Sometimes, depending on the need, it can be short. Stairlifts, sometimes we can install the very next day.
Oh, wow.
But then some of the larger equipment that we have to order takes a little while, so we coordinate with their schedule, and then we come out and we install. I would say most of our installations take no longer than, for an elevator, for example, it's like 2 days, 3 days max. And so, but a stairlift, something like that, is as simple as like 3 hours. So it's pretty quick. And
that's really nice, especially if somebody does happen to find themselves in a situation unexpectedly.
Absolutely. Yeah. We had somebody call today who was wanting something by Monday, and they were like, it's a short notice, I know, and they were prepared for it to take longer, but we were able to accommodate them, and that feels really good, because we essentially we love supporting people in our community and trying to meet their needs, and take a lot of pride in taking good care of our customers.
A lot of people do hesitate to think about making these modifications until they actually need it. What kind of advice would you give to somebody who's like, oh, well, I don't need that yet?
So, oh my gosh, I hear this all the time, especially like when I'm at shows and I've got my table set up. People are like, either they've got a 1-story home and they don't need anything, and I'm like, great job. Or they have a 2-story home or multi-level home, but they're not there yet. And I tell them, I used to be a high school math teacher, and I would tell my students all the time, you knew when you came into this class whether you usually struggle with math or you do well.
Right.
So don't wait till you're failing to get help. And I tell them the same thing, be proactive. Don't wait till you've fallen and are in a crisis and, have a torn this or a broken that you call us, and then, you're reacting. And when you're reacting, you have a lot less control. If you can be proactive, then, the hard part is setting your ego aside a little bit and, maybe accepting that you're getting old and not seeing it as a bad thing, but rather as just another phase of life that you're preparing for. Yeah.
I've always said, we all have those days where we're like, oh, I'm getting so old. But the way I like to look at it is, I know a lot of people that haven't had that privilege and have not been able to see their children grow up, their grandchildren, and that kind of thing. So, aging's a privilege. It really is.
Yeah, and we don't need to view it as a bad thing. It is a gift.
I know whenever, when my grandmother broke her ankle, and so the care fell on my mom to care for her. And so and it was an overnight thing. She was handicapped overnight. And so it was a big, I don't want to say burden, but it was an additional stress on my mom, because how am I going to get grandma out of the house to go to her doctor's appointments, to go to this, to go or even just to get her outside to get some fresh air. And so, they had to do the ramp and, take off the door. And so there's a lot of different things that, even if it's not for you directly, if you know that your loved one plans to age in place, they want to stay in their house until the day they die, that's wonderful, but they're probably going to need some assistance in the future.
Absolutely. And if you're the child of an aging person, think about it. What's the plan? Like, who's going to be the caregiver? Because I've also seen that burden or responsibility fall on someone, and there be resentment around it. So
because when it does fall on one person, it's kind of like that thing, like, okay, you don't know how the laundry gets done, but it gets done and you're happy about
Yeah.
it. You didn't have to be bothered with
That's
it.
true.
But
yeah.
like when you're the one that has to go and help take care of it, it puts it in perspective.
Absolutely. And it's a workload.
It is.
I mean, it is. And then
It is.
mentally, if you're not prepared for that, it can be overwhelming also.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've been to a lot of homes where I have couples who are like, if we buy this home, we're putting something in because I know my parents won't be able to come visit. So people are, I think, becoming more aware, and part of my job is raising awareness and educating people in our community, because it's a lot to process, especially when you're in a crisis moment. So, I know we all don't like to think too far ahead and be present in the moment that we're in and enjoying that. But, to take a little stress off of us potentially in the future, I think it's worth thinking about.
Yeah. Even if it's something as simple as a ramp.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be all this mechanical things.
No.
It can be a ramp.
And there are solutions that we offer where we rent things. Like, if you have family coming to visit for the holidays and you want to make sure that they're not worried, because people won't say anything sometimes. They'll just come and then they won't go upstairs, or they won't go in the backyard, or they'll just avoid it. And so,
and then they're avoiding the whole purpose of the gathering.
Yeah. And, it's like, save them some dignity, and think, and, have that thought for them. So that they can enjoy fully and be a part of everything.
Yeah. That's so important.
Yeah.
What trends are you seeing lately in accessibility, or like new designs, or like new things that are coming on?
So
board?
one of the biggest, I would say, and hottest kind of items on the market are shaftless elevators.
Okay.
So they're elevators that you can essentially put anywhere in the home, as long as you have vertical alignment between the floors and space for it. You literally just cut a hole in the floor, reinforce it, and there's this insert that goes in between. And when the elevator passes through the floors, there's a lid that sits in the hole. So it doesn't require a room. It is like all self-contained. And we have some that can do up to 3 stories. So for this area, when people are trying to make that decision whether to downsize or whatever they want to do, a lot of times they can stay and age in place by adding one of these lifts to their home, and it was cheaper than a lot of the other options. Well, because it's a lot to move, and people don't like to move because they have their neighbors and their friends and their community, and that's familiarity.
So
Change is hard. And the older you get, the harder it is. And so, I had this one couple. It broke my heart. They were sisters, and they all lived together in this town. And she had been in this house for, I want to say, 50 years with her husband. And her husband passed, and then she started to have her own struggles, and her sister was caring for her husband, so she couldn't help her anymore. And so she had to move in with her daughter, and she had been in this home for that long. And it breaks my heart a little bit, because at the end of your life, when you're already vulnerable and you're having to just kind of uproot yourself, it can be really scary. But we were able to put a lift in their home, so she had access and wasn't worried about falling. Still, change is hard.
Change is hard.
Yeah.
At any stage and any age.
Oh, absolutely.
From little kids to our age to elderly. I think it's more important when you're elderly, like when you're older, it's a lot harder because you've got a whole lifetime of memories and it's familiar.
Yeah.
So when things start to change, because the world changes as it is. So at least that one piece of familiarity you can have.
Absolutely. All right.
So can you share a memorable project or success story where a home modification made a big difference for a client's day-to-day life?
So, we help people every day, which is one of the reasons I love what I do and the people that I work with, and our customers. I had this one call from a guy here local in Knoxville, and he had this story. It was amazing. He had called us because he was interested in a stair lift, and he told me the story about his wife. They had gone into the doctor together for their normal checkup, lab results, and her lab results came back. I think her potassium was really high, or one of the measurements was really off. So they wouldn't let her go home. ended up getting checked into the hospital, and she was there for 3 weeks. So she went for this normal checkup and then wasn't allowed to leave. And her husband had to leave her there in the care of these doctors, and wonderful care, but he was calling us to get prepared for her to come home. And, you know, you could tell just how much love there was between them, that he wanted to make sure that she felt safe and that he felt comfortable with her coming home. And it was really beautiful. It's stuff that I love to be a part of, because you can feel the care that people have for each other. And in those moments, it can be scary. You know, it's just one of those situations where you really don't know what you're going to get sometimes. And you know, we like to think we have control over what's going to happen, but we don't always. And so,
like we discussed before, like it happens in a second. Like you go in for a regular checkup, and all of a sudden now you need all of these. And
he was very calm, and you know, I admired it, how he handled the situation, and you know, how he prepared for his wife to come home, and she came home, and they're doing great now. So
being a caretaker is seriously one of the hardest jobs in life, because unless you've done it, or you know somebody, even if you know somebody that's done it. My mom did it with my grandmother for 25 years. And unless you are in the day-to-day with them, you really don't understand what they go through.
Mentally, it can be really taxing. And if you have somebody in your life that's a caregiver that maybe got put in that position unexpectedly, you know, have some compassion for them. It's hard.
So what's one mistake that you see homeowners make when they're trying to adapt a home for mobility? How can they avoid?
So one thing I've seen multiple occasions, I've actually had people who designed homes with plans of putting an elevator in later in life without really consulting with a company or someone who installs them. So I've been out to multiple homes where a person had a whole shaft put in their home that was either too high for the elevator, that they were going to have to make significant modifications just to make it work. And it seems like had they consulted someone on the front end, it could have been a very smooth, like what they expected was it for this to be this easy thing, and it's not. And it's, you know, both of those situations I was able, one, we're still kind of work in progress. I've got another one that we were able to kind of upgrade to the next model, most cost-effective model. And, you know, it's still frustrating on their part, because they thought they did the thing that they were supposed to do, but didn't have all the information. You know?
That's hard, especially if somebody's doing it for future and they're not fully informed on what's needed. So even if they don't get it installed right away, they can still call you and consult and say,
absolutely.
Hey, what do I need?
And we are happy to provide that service to people, because we want people to be informed, and we understand that a large part of this is just the knowledge that, you know, people may or may not have based on their lives. And so,
because it's not something that, you know, is out there like, hey,
no,
you know?
It's not, unless you've been, you know,
you don't
put into the situation.
It's like buying a car. You don't notice all the red cars on the road until you buy a red car, right?
Exactly.
So you don't notice those things until it's directly in your in your world.
And I would say, you know, when you're buying a home, you know, the really functional, you know, be logical, think functional, you know, the bathroom, you know, entering and exiting the home, and then your movement around the home. Like, how easy are those things? Because when it comes down to it, that's what you will need.
If someone's planning to downsize in the next year or two, what can they start doing now to prepare for future mobility needs?
Well, if they're downsizing to a smaller home, I would make sure that the home still has accessibility. You know, the hallways are wide enough, the bathroom has access, that, you know, if they lose their ability to walk, they still have a plan for that. Bathing, you know, in and out of the showers at zero entry. Do you have to take a big step to get in? Those things I would definitely still consider. Cabinet height in your kitchen. You know, if you're in a wheelchair or some type of mobility device, will you be able to reach your plates and your cups? You know, there's a lot of products out there now that are designed to accommodate these things, and there's things you can do on the front end to prepare for these that just takes a little bit of thought and intention,
Yeah.
but can have a big impact if you're ever in a situation that
Yeah.
you find yourself in the mobility device.
Yeah.
So lever style handles, I would say, are another really simple accessibility thing. You know, if you ever, if you have fibromyalgia or arthritis in your hands, you know, I see a lot of weakening, that turning knobs gets really hard. So just a lever style handle even is like a very simple, but
by the time
accommodating
you get that age,
tool.
It's okay to have those because you don't have kids
Exactly.
that are going to go messing with them all the time. So I did want to ask you one thing. So let's say somebody is planning to sell their house and they've already had you install a stair lift, a chair lift. Do you can you come and remove those?
We can actually. So I mentioned that we have the rentals. So we also do buybacks for anything that's 3 years old or less.
Okay.
So if a customer bought something, we'll actually pay them and remove it. And then typically those products either become like a used sale or one of our rental options. And so even if it's outside of the 3 years, we'll still come remove it for them. Absolutely, yeah.
Because like if somebody's aged in place in a 2-story home or something like that, and then they're selling it to somebody that maybe is a young family and doesn't need a chairlift, and that's kind of in the way for them.
Oh, sure. Yeah. And
you don't want the kids playing on that thing.
No, they will. And it's a lot of fun. I tell them to charge for each ride. So you can, yeah, no, we don't mind to do that. Now, I will say if you're selling your home and you have a lift in it, I wouldn't really take it out. I would leave it. You know, there's a lot of people moving here to retire. And so I think
it's just as an option for like, you know, you can leave it, but to be able to tell possible buyers like, hey, you know, we can have this taken out easy peasy.
Absolutely. Yeah. You know, and that brings me to a point, like we don't just install and uninstall, we service and maintain equipment too. So
that's huge.
Yeah, so everybody, when you kind of purchase equipment through us, it takes a lot of the stress away from the whole ownership process.
That's wonderful. Thank you so much for meeting with me today.
Yeah,
thank you. It's been so informative. You offer so much to people that it's in a space that, like I said, people don't realize they need it until they need it. And so,
well, I'm really fortunate that I work with a lot of really great people that care a lot about people, and I'm blessed to do what I do and have the opportunity to be able to provide solutions for people. So I love it. Yeah.
If you'd like to learn more about 101 Mobility of Knoxville or schedule a consultation, I'll have their contact information linked below. And if you're thinking about downsizing and you want tips, checklists, and interviews with other local experts, be sure to follow along with my Downsize in 865 series. I'm Jennifer.